Ever heard of a kingdom so powerful it conquered ancient Egypt? A civilization south of the Nile that rivaled the pharaohs, built its own pyramids, and then vanished from the main stage of history. Today, we're diving deep into the story of one of Africa's greatest, yet most forgotten empires, the Kingdom of Kush. Most of us learn about ancient Egypt, its pharaohs, and its monumental pyramids. But what if I told you that for a period, Egypt was ruled by a line of black pharaohs from a neighboring kingdom? This wasn't some minor footnote in history. It was a game-changing era that reshaped the ancient world. The story begins in Nubia, a region that we now know as modern Sudan, nestled along the fertile banks of the Nile River, just south of Egypt. This was the homeland of the Kushites. For centuries, the relationship between Egypt and Kush was complex. It was a mix of trade, cultural exchange, and fierce rivalry. Nubia was rich in resources that Egypt coveted: gold, ivory, ebony, and incense. This made the region incredibly valuable, and for a long time, the mighty Egyptian empire dominated southern neighbor. The Egyptians built fortresses, extracted resources, and imposed their culture on the Nubian people. It seemed Kush was destined to forever live in the shadow of the great pharaohs, but empires rise and fall. As Egypt entered a period of internal weakness and division, known as the Third Intermediate Period, its grip on Nubia loosened. This was the moment Kush had been waiting for. Free from Egyptian control, the Kushites didn't just reclaim their independence. They began building a powerful kingdom of their own. They established a new capital, Napata, and their kings grew strong, wealthy and ambitious, all while watching their northern neighbor fall into chaos. By around 750 BCE, Egypt was a fractured land, ruled by competing local warlords. It had lost its former glory. Seeing this disarray, the Kushite king, Pi, made a truly audacious move. He believed he was the true heir to the pharaonic tradition, and that the Egyptian gods had chosen him to restore order to the Nile Valley. So he gathered his formidable army and marched north. Pi's campaign was brilliantly documented on a stone slab called the Victory Stele. It tells the story of a conqueror who saw himself not as a foreign invader, but as a liberator. He swept through Egypt, defeating one local ruler after another. But he didn't just conquer with force. He did it with a sense of divine purpose. He worshipped at Egyptian temples and respected their traditions. After a successful campaign, he returned to his capital in Nubia, having successfully united Egypt under his rule. He had become the first of the Black Pharaohs. This marked the beginning of Egypt's 25th dynasty. For nearly a century, a line of Kushite kings Pi, Shabaka, Shebeku, and the great Taharqa ruled over a combined kingdom of Kush and Egypt. They didn't destroy Egyptian culture. They revived it. They saw themselves as restorers of ancient Egyptian values that had been lost. They repaired and built magnificent temples, commissioned beautiful works of art, and brought back old religious practices. They were pharaohs in every sense of the word, leading ceremonies, managing the state, and defending its borders. The Kushites were renowned for their military prowess, especially their archers. The Egyptians had long referred to Nubia as Ta Seti, which means the land of the bow, a testament to the skill of its archers. These bowmen of Africa formed the backbone of the Kushite army and were feared across the ancient world. This military strength was essential, as a new, aggressive superpower was rising in the east, the Assyrian Empire. The reign of the Kushite pharaoh Taharqa was marked by a colossal clash of empires. The Assyrians, armed with superior iron weapons, set their sights on the wealth of Egypt. Taharqa fought bravely to defend his kingdom. There were victories and defeats, with control of Egyptian cities like Memphis changing hands, but the Assyrians were relentless. Eventually, their military might proved too great, and they pushed the Kushite forces out of Egypt. The last Kushite pharaoh, Tutankhamun, was forced to retreat south, back to their Nubian homeland. The age of the black pharaohs in Egypt was over. But the story of Kush was far from finished. After withdrawing from Egypt, the kingdom didn't collapse. Instead, it adapted. They moved their capital further south to a city called Meru. This move was strategic. Meru was located at the crossroads of major trade routes and was rich in iron ore and timber, the essential ingredients for a thriving iron industry. In Meru, the kingdom of Kush entered a new golden age. It became a major hub for ironworking, producing tools and weapons that were traded across Africa and beyond. The culture in Meru began to change as well. While they still revered many Egyptian gods and customs, their own unique Meroitic culture flourished. They developed their own script, a writing system that we are still working to fully decipher today. The art and architecture of this period show a beautiful blend of Egyptian influence and distinct African styles. And then there are the pyramids. When you think of pyramids, you probably think of Giza. But did you know there are more pyramids in Sudan than in all of Egypt? In the deserts surrounding Meru, the Kushite kings and queens continued the pyramid building tradition. But they did it their own way. The Meroitic pyramids are smaller, with steeper sides and unique chapels at their base. Over 200 of these stunning structures still stand today, a silent testament to the wealth, power, and enduring legacy of Kush's rulers. For over 1,000 years, the kingdom of Kush was a beacon of power, culture, and innovation in Africa. It was a kingdom that challenged and even ruled one of history's most famous civilizations. So why is it so often forgotten? Why don't we learn about the Black Pharaohs in school with the same reverence we have for Tutankhamun or Ramesses the Great? The reasons are complex, involving historical biases and the fact that its southern location placed it on the periphery of the Greco-Roman world that so heavily influenced Western history. But today, archaeologists and historians are bringing the incredible story of Kush back into the light. They are uncovering a civilization that was not just a footnote to Egypt, but a major power in its own right, a kingdom that shaped the course of African and world history. From the gold-rich lands of Nubia to the battlefields of Egypt, from the pyramids of Meru to the clash with the Assyrian Empire, the kingdom of Kush is a story of resilience, ambition, and incredible cultural achievement. It is a powerful reminder that history is full of amazing chapters we are only just beginning to read. Thanks for joining us on this journey to rediscover the lost kingdom of the Black Pharaohs. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next exploration into the forgotten corners of history. See you next time.